Yo, what's good? I had a somewhat unusual day today. A good friend of mine from high school and his girlfriend visited me, and I went out and had dinner and drinks with them. So, shout out to them. It was a great time. It was nice getting out of my place, being a little social, doing something fun. And I haven't yet gotten any work done today. So, I was thinking I would try to do something a little different tonight and record the entire process of the work I'm going to do tonight. It's already a little late, 10:30 at night. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll go for a couple hours here. I don't know. I imagine this is going to be the longest video I've ever done. To show you the process of how I do stuff. So, lock in and let's try this out. I'm operating on a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of alcohol. Let's fucking go. Okay. So, yesterday, I got Genyu to follow you around, and he shoots at enemies that pop up out of the wall. Now, there is one thing right off the bat that I did not like about this, and let me see if I can even set this up even better so you can get a full-on proper view. I know it would probably be better to do a proper, like, screen recording and maybe record my voice over that. But I don't feel like figuring that out right now. So you're just going to have to make do with this raw footage. Maybe it feels more personal. Maybe it feels more like you're hanging out with me. You know? Pull up a chair next to my computer. Okay. So yeah, I got Genyu to follow you. What I was imagining for this is the context of the game is an island it's a fictional island, loosely based on Japan and mixed with American influences, and also a fictional, anachronistic, I believe is the right word, time period. So even though it's sort of like 60s, 70s based, guns being on this island are a relatively new thing, and it's seen as culturally somewhat taboo or dishonorable because normally old weaponry like swords and bows and arrows are used. So Genyu, being a samurai, and even the concept of a samurai in the context of the story I came up with for this game is only loosely based on the actual real-life samurai. It's still a sort of military or hierarchical ranking that you have in the society, but specifically the samurai in the context of my story are a very small elite group of guards who worked and were loyal exclusively to the governor of the island. Anyway, so these guys, and Genyu especially, only sees it as honorable to use a sword. So I was thinking the context here is a story where the governor has died. It's been a long time. There's these wars breaking out now between the samurai who are trying to take over what's left of his fortune and control the island. And one of the gangs is this more modernized, somewhat jazz and hip-hop influenced group. And one of their gimmicks is that these guys in particular make use of guns. So I thought it would be cool to have an episode where an episode. See, I'm already preparing for the TV show. A level where there's a bigger part of the story going on here, but Genyu picks up a gun and he's like, let me try this thing out. So then as you are going through the level and fighting your way through, he follows behind you and uses the gun to shoot occasionally a guy who comes running at him. I just thought that would be a cool visual thing. And it's a purely visual thing because I think escort missions suck. So he's actually invincible. There's no way for him to die. You don't have to defend him. He literally just walks behind you and follows you and kills dudes who will occasionally target him. So the way that I have it set up is I thought one thing that would be fun is having enemies who spawn dynamically from behind you after you cross a certain point, and then they come out of here and they'll come and attack you, so that you have guys not only up ahead as you traverse the level, but also popping up behind you to make it more dynamic and interesting. And of course, this level is unique in that there are no individual rooms. It's all just going to be one long run through. So the idea is occasionally one of these spawns targets Genyu instead of you, and then that triggers Genyu to aim at him and shoot him. But there's a few fine details here aesthetically, because right now, the second they spawn, so let me pull this up now. Okay, over here we've got rooms. Okay, on the room object, this is in Unity Engine, right? Inside the room objects, I have another parent object for the normal difficulty and the hard difficulty, so I can set up different like enemy positions and spawns and stuff like that. So to start off, I always design everything for the hard level, and then I go back later and I do the normal level stuff. Anyway, so I created these objects called alert room triggers. Normally, battles are initiated by you entering into a room and triggering the alertness of the enemies. So since there are no individual rooms here, I had to come up with a new system. So they just have their own separate, like here, for example, a trigger you enter that alerts the enemies to your presence. Because normally, no matter how big a room is, the enemies are all immediately alerted to your presence and then run at you based on a delay, based on how far away they are from you. But here in this level, I don't want like every single enemy in this whole level running at you, obviously. So instead, they get triggered by you walking into these as you progress through. Okay, so now up here on the top one, I have these things, dynamic spawns that I created. They have a spawn point and an entry point. The entry point is like they spawn at the spawn point, and then the entry point is a point that they'll always run to first before they initialize their typical AI behavior, like targeting you and then running at you and trying to kill you and all the stuff they usually do. On the dynamic spawn, or not on the dynamic spawn, sorry, on the alert room trigger, over here you can see I have the dynamic spawns implemented, and in each spawn I put a prefab, which is like the dude that I want to spawn there. I'd give it the spawn point, the entry point, and that determines all that stuff. And then I added a flag for target companion. Companion is my code word for Genyu. So I just check that off for one of them, and it makes it so that once he runs to the entry point, he targets Genyu instead of you. Now, let me open up the code for that. Because one of the current problems with this is I probably don't want Genyu instantly shooting these guys the second they pop out every time. That's maybe a bit much. I want there to be a short delay, since it might look a little silly having him instantly shoot at them. So, let me bring the code over here. Okay. So this is a coroutine that I run, and I guess you can't really see this very well, eh? Still a little blurry, but it's better. On this AI behavior I have written, they have flags for setting the companion. Yeah, you really can't read that well at all. Oh well. There's a flag for setting the companion at the end of getting to the entry point position, and one for setting the player as the target. And so I just set those flags based on the target companion flag. And once that happens, this is the actual behavior. And when it's set the companion target at the end, I set my companion's target object, I set Genyu's target object to this enemy who is targeting him. So they both target each other at the same time, and then that triggers Genyu's own shooting behavior that I have here, called companion shoot behavior, which then targets the enemy. As long as he's not dead and he's got a clear line of sight and some other reasonable checks, he goes ahead and shoots him. So, an easy fix. One easy fix would be to use, like, he has a cooldown in case he for some reason misses his shot and it doesn't kill the guy. He has a cooldown on his shot. So maybe one simple fix would be to make it so on initialization, he has a small portion of that cooldown, maybe half the cooldown that he has to wait for before he can shoot the guy. So let's say, yeah, I think that works. So I have, for my AI behaviors, a function called start behavior. And I'll set his last shot time to the current time minus half of the shot cooldown. So he has to wait half of his cooldown before actually shooting at the guy when he starts running at him. I think that should work decently. So we'll set that in the start behavior, and he also has an on respawn function. And we'll set the same thing there. Okay, let's see if that works a bit better. And I did notice last night a couple bugs with how this works in general. There's like something weird that happens after I respawn, where there's like a long delay before he shoots. And also the enemies that spawn dynamically ran across the whole screen or something. So let's see what's going on there. Okay, so you can see him following me here. Actually, one problem with this is this door locking behind me. I wonder... Well, that's something I'll have to think about later, about what I'm going to do with that door exactly, because it doesn't make sense for Genyu to walk through the door, obviously, and given how big this whole thing is, I don't know. This is maybe one problem in it's the fact that you'll be able to run away like that. I didn't really think about that. Especially when I get to this part. Oh my god, this is so hard. Okay. Okay, another problem there is I wasn't able, when I had Genyu highlighted there and I clicked, I wasn't able to dash, and I already know why that's happening. Because when you are highlighting what I call an interactive NPC, it interrupts, like it's context specific what the input does. So it's the dash button is the same button as interacting with guys. So when you try to click on him, it thinks you're trying to interact instead of dash. And then in here on interact, I have a thing that's like, I added this flag, not interactive after level start. Not the greatest way of doing this logic, but whatever. A little hacky, but it works. Who cares? See, this is a good example of something I would never do if I was working at a studio, if I could avoid it. But since it's just me working by myself on this code, and I know how everything works, whatever. Okay, what I really need here is a can interact. Now I have a can interact boolean here already, and I have a function for this. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm guessing, so let's put this here, and then I have, let's take a look at my player controller. Okay, here's my on dash. You can see get interactive. If there's an interactive NPC, then interact with them. But I think what I'll do is say, if the interactive NPC is not equal to null and interactive NPC dot can interact. I only want to do this if I can interact with them. Oh, okay, so there's already a thing here that's like, if I can't interact, then return. How should I do this? I think this is fine. Only if I can interact, then go ahead and interact. Otherwise, do the dash. And then in here, what I'll do is I'm just going to move the not interactive after level start. And I will go to the base, because this is a class just for Genyu, the companion. Here we have, it derives from interactive NPC. So in here, in the can interact function, well, I'm going to add, first of all, oh wait, I need to add this flag, but okay, hold on, down here. Can interact. Yeah, so I need to add this flag. Public bool m not interactive after level start. And if he's not interactive after level start and the first room has already been entered, then return false. Good. That should fix that. And then just double check that my companion guy here, where is his class? Companion. Oh, here it is. And there you go. He's got not interactive after level start turned on. So that should work now. There you go. And now he doesn't even get highlighted. Sick. That's perfect. But out here, I can still click on him to change my stuff if I want to. And now I can't when I enter. Okay. Okay, now he is not shooting at all. See, that was the bug I just talked about, where they run across to the other side. Okay, I need to figure that out. There's something weird going on there. So just to show it again, what's happening here is I have these two guys that spawn on opposite sides in those hidden blocked off areas. Right, it's gonna be here and here. And they should run to here, and this guy will run out to here, and then they'll start chasing me and Genyu. Okay, so that worked perfectly. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But after one run and I reset it, the next time, this guy can fuck off. Oh my god, dude. Alright, that's it. Turn it on God mode. Okay, but now there's this bug, I think, where these guys are going to run all the way across to the other entry point, the opposite. Yeah, see? These guys run across all the way to the opposite entry point, so there's something weird going on with that. Let's figure that out first, too. So, here's the alert enemies trigger class, and I initialize the dynamic spawn routine here. So this is where they get spawned. Okay, and I grab their behavior that controls them running to those points, and I set the M points to the entrance points. And the entrance points are based on, yeah, the entrance point is the entry point that I set on their like dynamic spawn object. right? So let me step through this code one step at a time, and see what's going on. So I loop through. I have this dynamic spawn object, the one that I showed before, that holds the prefab, the spawn point, the entry point, and whether to target the companion, right? So I loop through this after you've triggered the trigger, and I spawn the enemy and attach it as a child to the room that it's a part of. I set his position and his rotation to the position and rotation of the spawn point that's coming from the dynamic spawn, so that's correct. And then I run this coroutine that sets up everything else about him. I have a coroutine because they need to wait a frame after being spawned, because there's some initialization stuff that has to happen that frame, so I need to wait a frame first. And then I go ahead and I reset them. I just set up a bunch of stuff basically to get them to work properly. I set them as alert. I add them to the AI manager. Okay, the spawn. Okay. Yeah, I don't really get what the problem is here. And then the entrance, I define the entrance point by setting it to the entry point from the spawn. And then I set the points to that, and that's it. So what the fuck is going on here? Why do they end up with, oops. Why are they ending up with opposite entry points? Like, it feels like what might be happening is that it spawns, because I use spawn pools. So when those dynamically spawned guys, when they get killed, when I deactivate them after resetting the level, they don't get destroyed completely. They're still alive, but just deactivated. So when I reactivate them, when I go to spawn them again, I'm wondering if it's like the guy that spawned the first time on the left is now being spawned on the right side. And so because of that, he's using the old entry point. But that doesn't make sense because the spawn point and the entry point are in the same object. They're defined here, spawn point, entry point, spawn point, entry point. So, I don't really see how this is possible. Oh, I know what it, okay, all right. See, this is the thing, when you know your own code so well, sometimes the solution just pops out into your head. Because I was thinking, like, what could be going on with, it's like something with the initialization of their initial position, and now I know what it is. See, I have this class called reset on level restart, and this is what resets everything when you restart the level. And the way it works with characters is when I first spawn a character, I store their initial spawn positions, their rotation, and so on. So when you reset the level, everyone gets set back to their original position, right? So I think what's happening is with these guys that are dynamically spawned, when I spawn the first guy, I spawn him on the left side. But when I reset it, just because of the nature of the spawn pools, it picks one at random, and it's probably putting the guy that was initially spawned at the left side and now spawning him on the right side. But then I call this reset function. The reason why I call the reset on level restart when I spawn them again is just to make sure, when they died and I deactivated them, they might be in the middle of a state where they were fighting or something like that, right? So resetting them is just to get them back to normal. But when I do this, it puts them back in the first place where I spawned them. So I think really the guy that was originally on, like the guy that was on the left is spawned on the right. So his entry point is on the right. But then when I call this reset function, it puts him back to his original spawn position, which is on the left, but his entry point is still on the right. So he ends up running across. Brilliant. Okay, so what I need to do Now I have here a function in the reset on level restart where I can set spawn values from current values. So I can override the original spawn values at any time. And all it does is set the position and rotation and stuff. So what I need to do here is there, like, I want to see. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to do that no matter what. This makes me wonder now. Oh, right. Okay, and then I was just thinking, like, why isn't this a problem in the other place where I dynamically spawn enemies, which is in the... There's, like, a level in the first act where you're defending against waves of enemies. There, it's not a problem because I always spawn the exact same guys in the exact same positions. So them being reset to their original position isn't a problem. But here... Wait. Actually, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Like, they get spawned in a specific order, and so they probably get deactivated back in the same order as well. Whereas here, I'm spawning these two guys at the same time. I don't know. It's something like that. In any case, I think this is something where I need to... One way to do this would be to just grab his position and rotation before I call reset and then just reapply it after I reset his stuff. Kinda hacky, not great. Another option would be to add some kind of function. Well, another option would be to just override the reset so that it uses whatever, which is not really any different or any... Well... Actually, yeah. You know what? That's probably the best thing to do here. So before I call reset, set spawn values from current values. I think that should work. Whatever. That's... So basically always use whatever the current values I set up was instead of relying on what it used to be. Still a little hacky, but whatever. That's why I added that. Okay, so here they are. They run out and they start running after us. Now let's try it again. There you go. It works. Okay, so they don't get screwed up like that anymore. That's good. And I'm going to quickly add that fix to the survival event that's in Act 1 as well. Here I reset it, so same thing here, just in case. Okay, that's fixed. Now I have to figure out why Genyu isn't shooting anymore at all, which obviously has to have something to do with me adding this cooldown thing. Let me double check to make sure he's not shooting at all first. Oh crap, I wasn't paying attention. Dude. Okay, I think that guy that... Alright, hold on. Let's make this easier to check. These gun guys are getting in the way. Let's just remove this guy at least so I can see what's happening. In fact, let's get rid of all of these guys so that it's only the dudes who are running out. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's do all of these. Except for maybe the very first one. Although this might be a problem, because this might cause it to think, oh, you just cleared all the enemies, so game over. Yeah. However, it might still work. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Okay, so as you can see, Genyu is not shooting at all. Why aren't you shooting, bro? Do we have an update function here? No. Okay, I'm gonna add. I'm gonna add an update temporarily just to log what is. Okay, sorry, I really gotta go to the washroom first. Give me a second. Alright. Let's get back to it, folks. Dude, this video could be like 20 gigs. Alright. So, I'm going to grab his behavior manager component, which is essentially my AI class, and get his target object and just print that out to the console so I can see what exactly is this guy targeting. Does his target get set to the enemy? Find out on the next episode of... Okay. Just so you can see our little console window here. So he's targeting the player as he should be to follow me. And then... Okay. Well, he never targets the enemy, so there's our problem. I'm going to leave that there for now. Let's figure out what's going on here. Set companionist. So I know the set companion as target is set. Yeah, okay. Set companion as target on end. Set target object. I'm going to guess... This is blocking swordsman. I'm gonna guess that somewhere in here. Yeah, okay, so there's literally one frame where it was set, and then it goes back to the player. So something is overriding it and setting it back to the player object again. Oh, I know exactly what it is. So just for testing purposes, on Genyu himself, I put a script called set player as target, and it literally just checks at any point. Well, no, this doesn't make sense, because it just checks if his target object is null, and then it sets it to the player object. But it's not being set to null. Yeah, it's never set to null. Something else is setting it to player. So, let us find out what is setting it. I'll get rid of this. Okay, where's the behavior manager? Okay, we'll do it here. Void update, and if I have a companion component, so only if this is Genyu, then go ahead and tell me. Oh wait, no, hold on. I don't need an update, sorry. I need a set target object. Here we go. Okay. Only if this is Genyu, tell me what am I setting it to, and I can use that to trace where in the code is that coming from. Okay, so it's not being set like crazy, so there's no spamming crazy shit going on here. It's just right here. So as expected, from the enemy's simple move to position behavior, at the end of that, it sets Genyu's target to him when he sets his target to Genyu. Okay, so that's correct. And then, oh, interesting. Okay. So I set Genyu's target to the enemy, and apparently it would seem that that triggers his shoot behavior, which it should. And then when this behavior ends, I set it back to the player so that it keeps following the player again. Now that's all correct, but the problem is I don't know why that behavior is triggering right away. Because the whole thing is I set the cooldown. Oh, right. Right, okay, sorry. So when the target first gets set, his last shot time, it isn't yet set to like this half the cooldown thing that I set here. It'll be set to 0. It's not until the behavior starts that I'm setting the cooldown and like resetting the cooldown thing. So it starts the behavior since the target got set. And then I set the cooldown thing, and then because of the cooldown thing, he doesn't shoot. And then in the should update behavior, it's like, well, the cooldown, the shot is still on cooldown, so just like, yeah, the shot is still on cooldown, so we can't update this behavior, therefore end the behavior, and then it sets it right back to the player, so nothing ends up happening. Okay, So basically this is completely busted. Let me think this through here. I've mixed up a couple of things here. He has a shot cooldown, which is really like a cooldown on this behavior in general, like him turning and shooting. And then what I wanted there to be as well is a kind of post-shot cooldown. Like he shoots the gun and then he waits a moment before going back to following the player. And I wanted to add a pre-delay as well, where he waits a moment before shooting. So really, I need to separate all of these. So instead of just shot cooldown, what we're going to do... Okay, so we'll have a shot cooldown, and then we'll have a M pre-shot delay and a post-shot delay. And I could use... it's a little confusing to use time for that, so I'm going to use timers to keep track of that. So pre-shot... Actually, I don't need... I think I can get away with one timer. Call it the shot delay timer. Okay, and in update behavior, I'll be like, okay, if I haven't shot yet, then increase the shot delay timer, and if the shot delay timer is less than the pre-shot delay, back out of here. Okay, I don't need to check the shot cooldown now. That doesn't make any sense. I grab the target object. And I'm really sorry about the crappiness of this quality if anyone watches this. Just doesn't play nice with this. I wonder if... Hold on. I have one idea that could perhaps improve the clarity here, which is what if I... Well, two things. One, let's try a more straightforward shot. And number... God damn it. And number two. Turn off the lights. That did nothing. Oh well. All right. Well, my apologies. Okay. If the target is dead and he's not active, this update doesn't really matter. I don't even need to check this because this doesn't even make sense, because this is going to end the behavior if this is the case anyway, because I already checked for this stuff. So let's get rid of that as well. Right, so I'm just setting the direction. Yeah, okay. Okay. So I have two things to check for here. First, if I have shot, then check first of all for the post-shot delay. So if I've shot, do the timer, check for the post-shot delay, and then if it's already past the delay, if it's finished, set mshot equal to false, and then that will cause it to check again, like, is the guy dead? Do I have a clear line of sight? Whatever. So it'll go back to the regular, like, shoot again if I'm off cooldown thing. Otherwise, that is, if I haven't shot yet, then also do this. Check if I've gone past the pre-shot delay. If I haven't, bounce out of there. And then when I do the shot, right? So if I haven't shot yet, increase the timer, check if the timer has passed the pre-shot delay. If it hasn't, bounce out. If it has, it's going to shoot, and then I need to reset the shot delay timer to 0, because that's got to start counting from 0 again to check for the post-shot delay. M shot will be equal to true. Okay. And I'm not going to set the last shot time here. So now I can get rid of this, all this last shot time stuff that I did here. So let's get rid of start behavior. Don't need that anymore. And get rid of the last shot time set up here. Make sure on respawn we set the shot delay timer to 0. Actually, I'll bring back start behavior just to make sure that the shot delay timer starts at 0 there. And make sure end shot is equal to false. It's probably redundant, but just in case. And then, okay. And then what we'll do, oh, this is tricky. Okay. Like, I kind of screwed this up because in should update behavior, it checks is the guy dead and so on. But actually, I want Genyu to keep aiming at him a little bit after he's been killed as well. So I don't even want to check for that. Oh, but actually, sorry, that's fine. That's okay because I check if he already shot the gun, and if he did, then I automatically assume I should keep running this behavior. Okay, so that's fine. Never mind, that'll be okay. Only after the post-shot delay will it set his shot back to false, and then that will trigger it to check this stuff, and then it'll fail because the guy's dead. So that's good. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so only when this behavior ends, then we'll set M last shot time to time.time, and that'll be the only. So only after a shot, and then the whole process of the pre and the post delay and everything. Once all of that is finished, the behavior ends. That's when I set the last shot time, which will influence the cooldown, which is like the next time he can try and take a shot again. Okay, I think it's kind of imperfect, but this should work. And M last shot time actually needs to be set to 0 when he respawns. So that the cooldown doesn't affect it. Honestly, I don't even think I need the shot cooldown anymore, because the pre and the post delay on the shot will add enough time around both sides of the shot. The cooldown's kind of irrelevant, so I'll keep it there just in case, but I think I can set it to 0 now. So here we go, companion shoot behavior. So leave the shot cooldown. Let's set that to 0 now. The pre-shot delay, let's say to 0.5, and the post-shot to 0.5. Let's see if our boy is shooting now. Oh, that's not good. So it worked, but he kept shooting. Oh, and why can't I... Oh, right, I can't dodge because it thinks I cleared the level, right? Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so he's shooting. The only problem now is he never ends the behavior. What's going on there? If he shot, return true. If he shot, keep adding time here. And if the shot delay timer is less than this, return. Otherwise, set it to false. Once it's set it to false, it should grab the target object, which will be the dead guy. Okay. All of this will probably pass as true, so that's why it gets passed here. But then it should be checking, is the guy dead? If he's not dead and he's active, then return true. But he's definitely dead. So it should be returning false, which should end the behavior and set the target back to the player. So, what the oh, I think I know what this is. Okay, so I set the M shot to false. Oh. Okay, yeah, the problem here is quite obvious. I set M shot to false, and then I don't return, so it just goes down and shoots again. And then he's stuck with M shot equal to true again, so it just keeps returning true, and every time it sets it back to false, which is when it should end, it just immediately shoots again, because I need to end the function here. I need to return right after I set it to false so that it checks for the should update again before continuing. There you go. Let's try this again. Nice, there you go. Good job, Genyu. Mess him up, bro. Alright, that's pretty cool. I like that. Cool. So that's good. There was something else that was on my mind a second ago that I wanted to fix as well. Actually, oh, right. His rotation. So the other thing that's a little silly is he kind of like he instantly looks at the guy and shoots, which is going to look weird. I feel like there's two ways that I could do this. One would be to make him stop and rotate. I don't think that works well with the game style. Everything aesthetically in the game, I don't know aesthetically if it's the right word, but visually everything is very instantaneous along with the speed of the game. Like everyone turns instantly on a dime. So I think it would be weird for him to turn to face the enemy instantly and then shoot at the exact same time. That's going to look odd. So I think what needs to happen is I should make him so when this behavior triggers and he stops, he should turn and face the enemy during the pre-shot delay. I think that makes the most sense. The enemy comes, yeah, so like the enemy comes running out, he instantly stops and turns and aims at him. And then after the pre-shot delay, he shoots the gun, and then he's holding it out, and then he turns and continues. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I'm just trying to think, will that look kind of silly, though, if he instantly turns? Well, either way, that would mean that I need to do... Basically, he needs to stay facing this direction no matter what. So I just need to move this to the top of the update behavior function. So that way he's always facing the direction as long as this behavior is active. Yeah, actually this works perfectly because he doesn't have his target set to the enemy until the enemy reaches the entry point. So the enemy will already have run out a bit, and then he'll turn, point his gun at him, wait half a second, shoot, keep holding it out half a second, and then turn and follow the player again. All right, that's I'm happy with that. That's good. Okay, I think now the rest of this is really just setting up the level. Now, one thing that was bothering me here is I was just thinking how now without, like, part of the point of the design of rooms, having individual rooms for all the combat encounters, is it prevents you from being able to cheese things by running away. That was a concern I had in early designs of the game. So I'm thinking now that might be a silly thing here as well. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. It's kind of hard to run with these. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't think it really helps you with these gunmen types, but I think I also need to add a thing to these gunmen guys that's like, don't shoot if the player is ultra far away. Actually, yeah, you know what? It won't really help you that much in this level. Because I think I'll make it so these gun guys don't shoot at you if you're too far away, but they won't chase after you either. So you have no choice but to go and confront them. And since you have to confront them, you're also going to have to confront these sword guys. It doesn't really make... I mean, I guess in theory you could try to, like, pull the guys away and then kill them and then run back up to these guys. And that'll just be a slow way of beating the level. But I'm okay with that. It's not really cheesing it that much. That's sort of just a... I don't even think that'll make it much easier. It'll just be really tedious too, so that's okay. So I just want to make it so these dudes have a limit on how far they're willing to shoot at you. So they have a behavior called dashing gunmen behavior. That's their main AI behavior. And okay, they check for a clear line of sight. So what I'll do is here in the clear line of sight check, which is just a sphere cast, I think I'll just also add, like, if there's no sphere cast result, then that's a clear line of sight. And I'll also just put and then I'll check for the distance between the target. Yeah, the distance between the target and themselves. The distance between the target and themselves is less than... Yeah, I'm not even... No, you know what? It won't even be a line of sight check. I think I'll just... I'll do it even earlier. I'll just be like... Okay, so let's add a distance. Max shoot distance. So if the distance is greater than the max shoot distance, then we'll just reset the timer. Actually, no. No, actually, you know what? We won't reset anything. We'll just bounce out of the function. And then I will, by default, for the prefab, we'll set the max shoot distance to 30, which is in the context of this game, a pretty huge distance. And make sure I have a gunman hard and a gunman easy for the difficulty levels, so let me set that to 30 for both. And in this level specifically though, let's grab the first gunman in the level. I'm going to set it to I feel like the furthest they should shoot would be a distance kind of like this between these two guys. So let's see what that distance is. So this guy is currently at 7.85 and this is 33. 33 minus 7 is 26. Yeah, 26, so actually it's pretty close to the 30 I already put. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Screw it, actually. I'll just set 26 as their default then. Because in regular rooms, I probably don't really want them shooting from that far away either. Universal solution. There you go. Let's make sure that works. Oh. See, sometimes I get carried away just playing the game. I didn't even test what I was looking for there. Whoops. Bruh. Got them to kill each other. Also not intentional. Okay. Oh my god, dude. They're too good. Alright. Stop shooting. Okay. Looks like it works. So you get out of range and they stop. And then you get back in range and they start again. Alright. Cool. Okay. So, that's good. Alright. I think it's time for some proper setting up here. Now, by the way, for anyone who made it 1 hour into this video, if there's anyone who genuinely enjoys watching this, let me know, because I have been considering streaming live while I'm working. I don't know if I really want to do that, but maybe I could do it a little bit. Or even just on these videos, maybe do actual screen capture recording instead of pointing my webcam at my monitor. Usually I'm not showing that much of my direct work, of course. I'm speaking directly into the camera, and then the webcam makes sense, but just saying. If anyone enjoys watching this process at all. I have to say I am kind of enjoying working on this while talking about it at the same time and explaining my thought process. Okay. So, when I'm designing this stuff, that is the levels, I like to think about a mixture of what's good for the gameplay and what kind of makes sense realistically. Now I'm thinking for the context of this level, it'd be sort of weird to have a guy walking back and forth directly in front of the door. A lot of this is just intuitive feeling, so I'm going to have this guy just within range of being able to kill him from the door, but he'll be walking back and forth here. I have... oh, actually, I need to set this up. So he doesn't even have a patrol point. He's just standing there right now, so let's fix that. So I'm going to give him 2 of what I call unalert patrols. Okay. These gunmen also have what I call alert patrols, which is a misnomer. This is a hacky solution that I used to give them predefined positions that they can dash to, because they shoot, then they dash, then they shoot again, they dash, and so on. So these are the different positions that they can dash in between in order while they're shooting at you. And actually this works for this guy. This is fine. It's in order and it spans across the room, so that's fine. In pretty much every level, I have to have a guy somewhere in front of the first door because of the slow-mo effect. If there isn't, because it allows you to skip the slow-mo. It's kind of tedious to sit there and watch the slow-mo as you smash through the door every time, but you can skip it instantly if you just go ahead and dash or dodge. So to always give the player a way to instantly pass by it, I put a dude somewhere in front of the first door. And yeah, and it's always fun to begin a level by killing a guy, right? Okay. Next, this is the level that follows the level where you are introduced to these guys, so you kind of know about them by this point. I like the idea of having a second guy standing up here after you enter. And I think we'll have this guy walking back and forth as well, but up and down instead. So he'll be patrolling here and down. Bring it there. Yeah, it should be okay. His alert patrols are, yeah, he's got kind of a V shape. I like that too. That's fine, I'll leave that. And ultimately this level is going to be a mix of our first enemy type from this act along with the shooting dudes. I think 3 guys in a row like this, probably too much of a jump in difficulty here. So let's switch this up to, hold on, we got this first alert trigger. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So the second one, we're going to switch this to, I think 2 gunmen. I think that works. So we'll have 2 dudes side by side like that. And I like the combat positioning of these 2 guys just being, forming like a V shape, 2 spread out guys like this, so it forces you to parry them or go one side then the other, so we'll keep that. But I'm going to move this down a little bit just to shorten the distance between these 2. Should be okay. No patrol. I will give them 2 dashing positions. Oops, what is going on here? weird. Okay, 2 dashing positions. One will be here at his original position, and the second one I'm gonna make it so that they dash like up and away like this. So it's kind of like, what do you call that? Is that a trapezoid? Whatever. Anyway, those 2 on him, and then on this guy, similarly, 1 on top. Oh, it's got the same problem. 1 on top, and the other one up and to the left. And then the trigger itself, this might be okay. They get triggered as soon as you take care of this guy. Actually, that could be a bit challenging, maybe, because this guy walks up as well. Well, we'll see how it works. I'll adjust as I go. Let's get rid of this console. It's getting in the way. Okay. I like this too, having this little segment in the wall where this guy's just chilling. I might have to narrow. It's pretty wide. I might have to just narrow the whole thing down in general, possibly. Well, just to start, let's see how that feels, and let's turn these 2 off for now. No, actually, hold on, let's turn the last one off, and the second last one, let's adjust this as well. So we have a few encounters with the gunmen. I think now what we want is some regular swordsman stuff. Keep it simple. So how about this? We'll keep the gunman here on the side. Won't even give him a dashing position. He'll just sit there and shoot. Get rid of this gunman. And let's keep it like this for now. Let's see. These guys patrol? No, no patrol on them. Okay, let's see. Oh. It's a little hard, I think. I feel like there's something weird going on with this guy's dash positions. Here, here. Oh, yeah, this is set up wrong. This position should be first, then this one, then this one, then this one. And now, yeah. There you go. This guy's very slow to react when he shoots. I don't really know. Why does he take so long? I think... I think when I set... It's going to be here. Is that right? No. No, it's going to be the regular alert. Yeah, set player as target object, and they don't do it instantly. Okay, so normally when you enter a room, there's a minimum delay that every enemy has before they really react to you. I think it's 0.2 seconds is the absolute minimum they have to wait. So I think that's what's happening here, and that's why this guy takes so long. Because it's like a minimum of 0.2 seconds plus additional time for how far away they are from you. So I think That's why this guy has such a big delay. And then I think what's even worse is normally a guy like this gets triggered instantly because you, like, the second you enter through the door, the second you hit the input, the guys instantly get alerted. So it's like 0.2 seconds, I think. Oh no, it's 0.2 seconds after you land. So actually, it should work out the same way. Either way, that's what's going on here. So I mean, I suppose that's technically correct, but it feels a little too easy here. Did I maybe give these guys also a custom delay time? No, I didn't. They have the same. Oh, but they have. Oh yeah, no. They're supposed to react really quickly too. Okay, hold on. Let's see this again. I'm curious to see, do those two guys at the top react so slowly as well? No, their reaction time is reasonable. Yeah, it's just this guy. Why does he take so long to... These guys turn around and start popping at you instantly. Why does this guy take so long? What is going on here? I don't even know. I really don't know. Because... Oh, wait. It might be because... I think I might know what it is. Okay, so these guys... So you trigger it the second you get here, but he's way up here, so it's a decent distance, and he's including that, whereas with these guys, the trigger point is right here. So they don't react until, like, you enter here, and the distance is quite small, so I think because of that, they react almost immediately, whereas here, the distance is from here to here. Yeah, that's like, dude, that's like double the distance of this, probably. Okay, well, I think in this case, a better solution would be to just give them a custom reaction time. Where is this shit? Behavior manager. Okay, let's try doubling his reaction, maybe. No, he's still so slow. Maybe it's... Maybe that's not the problem. Actually, yeah, no, dude, that can't be the problem. Because it's not just that he's taking so long, it's that he doesn't shoot. He dashes and then he shoots, whereas these guys turn around and shoot first. So that means something is, like, blocking him or something? Hold on, let's... Okay, set that back to his original reaction time. Let's check out the dashing gunman behavior. Is it the distance check that I just added, maybe? Like, his position... from 12 to -8. So that's like 20. So he's not out of range, so it's nothing to do with that. Is it a line of sight check? No, I don't think so. The only thing that stops him is either a clear line of sight or that he can't attack. Okay, what happens if I just disable all these guys? Disable them all for a second and just to see. I mean, it has to be this. It has to be the line of sight. Because that's the only thing that would make him switch to dashing without having taken a shot, is if he doesn't have a clear line of sight. WTF, mate. Let's see if that's what's happening. Maybe wiping my webcam will make something clearer? I don't think so. Okay. Whoops. Let's get the... Okay. Yeah, okay. So he fails the line of sight check. You can see the WTF here. Okay. So how is he failing the line of... I guess it's possible that he... Maybe he wants to shoot almost immediately, so he does the line of sight check, but it ends up hitting... colliding with this wall, maybe? One of these walls, or the... Like, I don't think it can be the door, because the door collision gets disabled once I start entering through it. I'm pretty sure. I guess what I should do is say... Oh, I have the hit info here. Okay, so instead of WTF, let's print out what is being hit. Hit info dot collider. What is the cast hitting it? Door 1. Okay, so it is hitting the door. But yeah, it's got to be this door. Doesn't this get disabled when I enter through it, though? Okay. I think I did the line of sight check wrong. Because I am only... I think the... Okay, it's a sphere cast, and just like any ray cast, I think it will return the first thing it collides with, but I'm only checking for these walls, for walls and doors. So hypothetically, it could be the player is past the doors or the walls, and this guy is just casting in that direction. And then, like, yeah, I mean, it's a sphere, so it has a radius that projects outward. So I guess it's possible if it reaches out just a little too far, it ends up detecting the wall behind him. So in any case, I should just check if I should just add the player to the line of sight check, and then instead of checking if they're and so clear line of sight, it's a clear line of sight if I don't collide with anything, or the thing I collided with is the player. We'll check if the player controller on the collider is not equal to null. Also, and then let's get rid of this debug log, and I had a leftover debug log somewhere else. I think it was in behavior manager. Yeah, this thing. Forgot about that. I saw that printing there. Okay. So now that it also checks for the player, I think the line of sight check will work better here. Instead of going through him. Ah, now he shoots. There you go. Now he kind of shoots too fast. It's like instantly shooting at you. Nah, it's okay. You just gotta get good. Alright. Let's bring these boys back. Okay. Now let's see how this all feels together. Wait. I think sometimes, yeah, so sometimes there's still a bit of a delay if you, like, because the thing is he doesn't aim directly. Sorry for my yelling there. It's because I got the headphones on. He doesn't just... He might still, like, he doesn't aim directly at you. He aims at... There's like a short delay when you dash. If you dash away from position, he still aims at your position just before you dashed for, like, I don't know, a third of a second or so. So I think what's happening here is if I still come through the door and immediately dash out of the way, that's why there's still a delay, because he's, like, aiming directly at the door. And since you're not there anymore, he just detects the door in the way, so he has a delay. Oh, yo, you know what? I totally forgot to... Sorry, I should not... probably shouldn't show my private Discord conversations on here, but... I forgot to... Maria sent me... I mean, I can show this. She sent me the arrow deaths for these guys. I forgot to get back to her today about this. I gotta pay her for her work. So actually, while we're at it, let me go ahead and add those two to the game. And also pay her. I guess I should do that, right? I should probably pay people. If I have to. Archer deaths arrow. Oh, sorry, not the archer. The dashing swordsman. Okay. So this guy, and then our kamikaze guy. Enemies, Kamikaze Swordsman, Death's Arrow. Okay. And then let's check out the sprites, NPCs, enemies, Dashing Swordsman, Death's Arrow. I have to set the pixels per unit, bitmaps. One thing, oh, I think I already explained this in a previous video, is I need to transform all of my images into powers of 2 dimensions and also minimize their max size when I import them into Unity, because that turns out that's why the game size is so incredibly bloated. 6 gigs for a demo. Okay, that and then the Kamikaze one. Let's do that too. Okay, and then I need to go to the prefabs for these guys. Here we go. Prefabs, enemies, Kamikaze. Okay, and on these enemies, they have a class called Character Effects, and then they have a Death Effects array, which is where I define a bunch of stuff for what sprites to use when they die. So there's one that is when they get killed by the shuriken, ranged shuriken. So I need to add another one that's going to be ranged bullet. And he has body part prefabs, weapon prefabs where he drops his sword, and then the main death sprite. So this is what I need to change here. So the main death sprite for this. Oh wait, this isn't the bullet. Sorry. It's arrow. Yeah, sure. Okay, so he's got one for ranged shuriken. This one's ranged arrow. Okay. Okay, and here is his arrow sprite. Cool. Also, he has a dynamic spawn. That needs to be updated as well. So I'm just going to copy this death effects, go to his dynamic spawn version, and paste it in there. Okay, and then for the dashing swordsman, same thing. New death effects, it's going to be an arrow. And we've got the new image. And then we'll copy this. And we'll go to the dynamic spawn version of him. And we'll paste that. And that's good to go. And then let me see the invoice that Maria sent me and double check we're all good here. Let's see how many. Just did a bunch of work here. We had. Okay, so we had a bunch of new animations for Gomen, the boss fight. So that's like 3. Then we had 4 frames for a running animation, 7, 8, 9, 10 for his dash, his attack, and a post attack, and then 12 for these last 2 guys. So that's all looking good. Okay. So excuse me for a brief moment while I... Oh, you can look through the... You can look at this dull, super trippy mirror effect. Or I don't know what you'd call this. Recursive webcamming. How does this even work mentally? I'm like looking at I'm looking at this window, which shows me the window that I'm looking at. How deep does it go? It's looking at the image of what it's looking at. Okay, that's enough of that. I might have to get my phone here. Verifying your identity. Solidio. Alright. 1 second. I need to... do a little money transfer here. Money, money, money. In the rich man's world. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I have some money in a retirement fund that's just automatically managed. And I have to say, there was a lot of panic about Trump's economic policies and how it was going to destroy everything. And I mean, I have no strong opinion about it one way or another because I frankly don't understand the ins and outs of economics quite well enough to have a strong opinion about it. But I'm not gonna lie, it feels like stocks have just been skyrocketing. So every time I open my bank account, that number just keeps going up and up. And I am going to have to pull from it to finish this project. I'm gonna have to pull all of it probably. So I can't complain about seeing that number go up. Of course, there's also a lot of people who say that this is just a bubble. And if that's the case, which seems to me possible, quite possible, seems like a whole lot of money reflecting not a whole lot of additional productivity. So if there's a crash, hopefully it happens after I pull the money out. Otherwise, could be in trouble. Okay, I need to send her money. What do I owe her? I opened this up already, okay. Okay. I also need to store. Now, I don't know if I'm the best person to learn from when it comes to how to organize a business, but it's probably common sense that you should keep every last invoice and receipt and document somewhere. Maybe have a backup of it as well. So here you can see the organization of my stuff, and I have every single invoice from everyone working on the project with me. Look at this. Look at all this work Maria has done for me. So we gotta add another one there. Furthermore, you want a budget. Again, I'm probably not the most sophisticated person to learn this from, but Here's a nice long budget since the beginning of every single penny I've spent since the beginning of this project. Can't say every dollar spent was used in the most intelligent way, but it's a learning process. It's my first time undertaking something like this. And I also feel like, you know what, there's probably a lot, this probably happens in projects as well a lot. I bet it's not just me. You always have to just like how you have to overestimate how much time you'll need to finish a game project realistically, you probably have to over budget in some sense. You can't just be like, here's exactly what we need, so it's going to cost exactly this much. You know what I mean? You should assume it's going to cost more than that because you're going to make mistakes, or you're going to spend money on something that turns out to be not as efficient as it could have been. Anyway, Maria invoice. Oh wait, I don't know how much it is yet. I need to pay her. Now I pay everyone in good old American dollars, but of course, I am Canadian. So I need to see what the conversion is. By the way, that's another thing that's been pretty solid. Canadian CAD to USD. Oh, currently 71 cents. Dude, a while back it was like 68 or 69 cents. It keeps getting worse. So not only do my stocks keep going up, but the US dollar keeps getting weaker. So all around, you know, putting all other opinions aside on Trump so far, at least this stuff is working out in my favor. Alright, Okay. Now, just one moment. I'm almost done here. $784.81. 784.81. Okay. Please don't make me connect my bank account. Oh my god, dude. Wise always makes me do this every single time, man. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, should I show you guys all my bank details? Please work. Oh my gosh. Like, and man, there's been so many times too where I'm always like switching up the password a little bit because I forgot it one time and then I had to change it because then I couldn't remember it, and then I had to change it again the next time because I changed it, then I can't remember it the next time, and I get in this cycle of constantly forgetting the password and then having to like reset it every time I do this too. It's so annoying. Oh, thank God it worked. Looks like I remembered it this time. All right. surely just a moment more. Mm-hmm. Alright, we're in business. Oh my god, dude. What are you... It's so stupid when websites are like, okay, type in your password to log in, and then you go to do something after logging in, and it's like, okay, for security, type in your password again. Like, well, if I'm a hacker and I just logged into the account, I obviously know the password, don't I? So not really a security move anymore. All right. Finally. Money sent. Gotta keep the money moving. Welcome to business, folks. Okay. So, having paid her, and let me go ahead and let's see, what was the amount in Canadian? I gotta update my budget here. 784.81. Okay. All right. Budget set. Now, the next thing. I don't know, should I bother with this right now? So, next, I want to do really fancy death animations for the bosses. So Goemon's the first one. And I want there to be an animation where you first hit him, and that's the end of the fight. Some blood splatters, he takes a hit, and he's like, ugh, and then he drops to his knees, is how I imagine it. Then there will be a fade to black, and then it fades back out, and Genyu will be on his knees in a position reminiscent of the traditional ritual suicide posture that samurais would use. I know seppuku is is the old term, but isn't there? Is it harakiri? Is harakiri? Oh, okay, yeah, harakiri seppuku, yeah. All right. Anyway, the traditional a position reminiscent of that. So we need an idol for that position. And then the final animation, and this is probably the most complicated one, is going to be the player cutting off his head in a single swoop. And then the head falling off, ideally rolling a little bit. I think the coolest thing would be to have the head roll along the ground a bit, and then it ends rolling on his mask pointing towards the perspective of the player. So it's like looking directly up from the top-down view. And then his body slumping over. Might be tricky making it look all good too. So this may very well be the most complex animation in the whole game. It's going to be quite a bit of work. So I guess I'll briefly tell her what I want to do next with that. So, how much time have I got on this recording? I accidentally ended the recording there. Let's start again here. So, I was going to describe to Maria what I wanted to do next with those Goemon animations. So, I will, for privacy purposes, even though I'm I'm not going to show my Discord, but I am going to say out loud what I am typing to her. Next up, I wanted to do the death animations for Goman, and I think these boss death animations are probably going to be the most complicated ones we're going to do. And what I can show you though is, let's take a look at some images for seppuku stance. Okay, now they do the whole cross-legged thing, but okay, this is what I was thinking of. On your knees, feet under your butt. Something like that while he's already wounded. Yeah, or like this. Okay, this is good reference images. Oh, this is perfect. There's even a guy about to cut his head off in the back. You can't see that very well here, but... And the colors on this monitor don't show up very well, do they? Does it look better on this monitor? A little bit. Not really, though. Okay. So... maybe I'll start off by just telling her... We'll start with just the first animation, which will be, you will be hitting him and he'll react, I don't know, in the way a person would react when getting sliced, and be kind of like, ugh, and like he's going to fall. Yeah, like he's taking a hit across his chest. You'll be slicing through his chest, and then he'll kind of like, I don't want to, yeah, he'll fall over towards one of his sides, down onto his knees, and into a position somewhat, obviously not quite exactly like this, but something like this, like with his knees on the ground and maybe both his hands falling down onto the ground as well, with the sword in front of him. Okay. So, let's see if I can find samurai on hands and knees. Maybe there's something kind of like that. Yeah, this is kind of right. Kind of like that. So he's going to be, when you hit him, Goman is going to be in the following stance. Where is this guy? Goman. Post attack. Yeah. So he's going to be in this stance when you hit him. So I'm thinking the sword, your sword, will come across, and it's like you're kind of like you're in front, and you're going to like slice across his chest. And so I'm thinking like then his arms and his whole body, he then kind of like, it's like getting, almost like getting tackled, like football tackled from the side, right? Like, ugh, and then that'll be in slow motion as that happens, and then I want the animation to be like him falling to his knees over to the side. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this image to her. So for the first anim, it's gonna be when you first land a hit on him. he's going to be in this stance. Okay, he's going to be in this stance, and it'll, okay, hold on. You know what? I need paint. I need paint. Okay, and we'll take like a red here and be like, it's gonna be like that, okay? Like let's do a layer underneath him, so it's like this. And we'll put it, it's like an arrow, okay? Oh, whoops. Merge, okay. So he's gonna be in this stance when you hit him. And it's like you're slashing him across the chest from left to right, like this arrow. So I want him to fall over to the right onto his hands and knees. Similar to these positions. It's like a samurai suicide ritual. Is this a good explanation? Is this overly wordy? Might be, but I'm gonna give her some context here. So like, okay, so this image, okay, so what did I say? So for the first anim, it's going to be when you first land a hit on him. He's going to be in this stance when you... He's going to be in this stance when you hit him, and it's like you're... He's going to be in this stance when you hit him, and it's like you're slashing him across the chest from left to right like this arrow. So I want him to fall over to the right. Onto his hands and knees, so he ends up in a position that's kind of like the samurai suicide position. But in a natural way, like he just fell like that. Does that make sense? Maybe she can tell me if that makes sense. And I imagine in my head, we have pretty low animation frame counts in the game, and so we should probably mostly keep that consistent. We can always add more frames in between if necessary to make it look better, but here I imagine like one. The sprite will probably be moving while it changes frames, so I'm thinking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll say I'm thinking 6 or 7 frames. I wonder, dude, this is one of those things where it's like, should I just make a video of myself? Maybe I should just send her a video of myself doing what I imagine how this would look like he's like this and I should show you myself doing that again. He's like, he's holding like this, right? And then he gets slashed across the chest. So he's like, okay. That gets the idea across, right? Are there better images here? What if I just look up wounded samurai? Yeah, I don't know. This one's kind of good. It's kind of the idea. Okay, like in the red. I shouldn't say fall over to the right. I don't want to get too specific with this. I often find that when I give instructions to artists, sometimes when it's like a character description, it makes sense to be really, really accurate about exactly what I want. But it's something like this, like with animation, oftentimes, I have ideas that I think in practice don't really actually work. And it's better to be a little more vague and then let her turn it into something that makes sense and gets the idea across. So, yeah, so for the first animation, it's going to be when you first land a hit on him. He's going to be in this stance when you hit him, and it's like you're slashing him across the chest. Yeah, so I want him to fall over onto his hands and knees so he ends up in a position that's kind of like the samurai suicide position. So he ends up in a position that's kind of like the samurai suicide position, but in a natural way. Okay. And I'm going to put this into a document. Because sometimes I have a tendency to send her these instructions on Discord and then it gets lost in conversation, you know? So usually I like to make a document for this. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm just going to copy paste what I wrote. And then, can I copy paste? Oh, why does this have to be so complicated? Why you have to go and make things so complicated? Okay. Then you got your usual bullshit like anchoring thing with these goddamn programs. It's so annoying. See, like, why, like, dude, why when I press enter does it push this down? It's so unintuitive. Like, who decided this should be the default behavior for images and documents? Does anyone ever want it to work like this? It's so unintelligent and unintuitive. Like, just put the image there, and obviously I don't want to write things around this, bro. God damn. All right. Now, let's get rid of this. And I'm gonna copy this image. Bro, like, see, like, what the fuck is that, man? What is this? What made it just decide to just fucking... There. Keep it like that. I'll also say maybe let's start with a rough test, with a couple rough test frames, like the first frame right after sit and how he reacts to that. And the last frame for the final position. Test frames, so we're on the same page. Well, whatever. I think she gets the idea. Just rough sketches, I don't know. Okay. And let me... Okay, so I sent that to her, and then I'm gonna export this as a PDF. First Goman Death Anim desktop save. And then made a PDF for... Okay. All right. So that's done with. So there's another aspect of this, folks. I gotta, you know, as my people get stuff done, I have to keep feeding them new stuff to work on, and you know, and then when they finish stuff, I gotta implement it. It's a lot more than just doing the direct work that I myself have to do, you know. Stuff gets busy. Okay. So okay. How much longer should I do this for? We'll go 15 more minutes, and then I'm gonna call it for tonight. Back to this. I forgot where I was at. Let's test this out, see how it's looking. Oh yes, I was looking at the reaction times of the guys when you enter. Okay. Should I space it out more? Is this too much too fast? No, I kind of like it. I sort of, okay, so I gotta stop and think now. What's the intended feel behind this level? And I believe what I wanted was a feeling of like you're just it's like that image from a classic anime or a samurai film, like a guy just running down a hallway and just slicing through guys left and right. So I think I do want there to be a nice, compact, non-stop action feel. Very little breathing space. So I think this is a good start. I think that's what it feels like right now. You're just busting in and you're like, oh shit. Okay, yeah, I like this for a start. I think maybe let's bring this in a little bit. How am I feeling about the spacing? Should I make the hallway more narrow? It's pretty wide. It's not like crazy, but I really like the more open space for this act, especially because of how, I don't know if this guy's walking animation should be slowed down a little. No, whatever. Deal with that later. I like the extra space for this act because of the nature of these like dashing guys and the, you know, you're trying to deflect these bullets. One thing I don't like about, okay, so like another design pillar I have is wanting everything to always be consistent. So I'm also not sure how I feel about this thing where if I move out of the way, well, why is he shooting right away now? What the hell? Yeah, see, like how sometimes he delays before he shoots and then other times he shoots right away. Not a fan of that. So you know what I'm gonna do? This is another hacky kind of thing, but fuck it. For the sake of consistency, I'm gonna do a let's add a bool here. That's like bool m check line of sight. So that way here for clear line of sight, we'll just say if it's not check line of sight or it fulfills these conditions. Okay, so if check line of sight is off, he will automatically assume the line of sight is clear. And now I need to, by default, I want it, of course, to check line of sight. So let's set that to be the default on the prefab. And that's for Gunman hard. I need to do it for Gunman easy as well. And where's Gunman easy? There he is. Check line of sight, okay. But then on this guy specifically, we will turn it off. There, that way he should always shoot right away. Keep him consistent. Now, I mean, it's kind of a hacky fix because I'm doing it arbitrarily, but I'm going to have this problem as well if you're, let's say, just running along the wall. That's going to make a guy hesitate to shoot you because, again, it'll be colliding with the wall, especially if you just dashed, which can result in inconsistent behavior. Okay, I have an idea. I have a better idea. I've got a better idea. Okay. You know what? Get rid of this check line of sight. Okay, get rid of that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna sphere cast all. We don't need the out hit info. It's going to give me an array of raycast hits. And then I will loop through that, and I'm going to check if... Basically what I'm thinking is, even if I hit a wall during the raycast, if the player wasn't anywhere in the cast themselves, then go ahead and shoot, because I'm going to assume that this is just the enemy aiming at the wrong spot. So it's like he's intentionally missing the player, so that's fine. Is that fine though? Because I can see how, well, this is going to make a guy shoot if he's behind, like a guy could be behind the wall and he's aiming at the wrong spot because the enemy just dashed. So he ends up shooting because he thinks that he's just missing. Fuck, man. This is complicated. Okay, maybe instead... Yeah, you know what? I think this actually does require like a case-by-case solution. Because there isn't really... I can't think of any way dynamically to figure out, is the line of sight failing because I'm actually behind a wall, or is it failing... Yeah, am I or am I not behind a wall? Because if I'm behind a wall, I like always want to fail the line of sight. And I need to know if... I suppose... Okay, one solution could be check where the raycast hits, like what the point of contact is, and then check what the distance to the player is. And if the place that I'm casting to, the position on the wall, is closer to me than the player, I can assume, okay, this thing is actually blocking my vision. Whereas if the player is closer to me, and I'm like, what's happening is I'm just missing my aim because he dashed, and so I'm aiming at an old position, I can assume the player will be closer to me than the raycast contact point. But it's also possible that I aim at an old position and the player moved in a direction that's further away from me, so that I'm not missing, I am pointing further away, and the player has moved further away from me as well. And so again, it'll think that something's in the way. But I guess that's not really a problem. I mean, it's not a problem gameplay-wise. It's just visually it'll look stupid that he doesn't shoot. Okay, yeah, I can't think of any dynamic solution for this. I think this requires a case-by-case thing. If I know that nothing can possibly be in the way of this guy, then don't check for the raycast. Just always... Yeah, okay, fuck it. Alright, back to what I had before. We're just going to do a manual check line of sight flag. Right? Alright, check line of sight. We'll keep that. And we've got this guy. Yeah, alright, everything is set up. Now I do need to... It's the annoying thing with these dynamic spawns. I gotta keep them up to date in case I change something, you know? Sometimes I don't have the most efficient designs, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So, once again, back on this guy. He is not going to, yeah, he's not going to check the line of sight. So he'll just always shoot. Yeah, so now he always shoots no matter what. Okay. I'm digging that. One thing I kind of don't like about these guys is how they both at the same time move up here, because they both shoot at the same time. I wonder, will they go at different times if I approach from a different side? Like, instead of going straight down the middle. Oops. God, stop killing me. Yeah, okay, that makes them go at slightly different times, but... Okay. I think the width should be squeezed down just a little bit. Like if I maybe just bring in the walls to where these guys are. I think that's... I feel like it's just a touch wider than it needs to be. Should be okay. Okay. Oh. Something like that. All right. Bring this in a bit. Yeah, I think this feels better. Yeah, makes it feel a little more, just a touch more claustrophobic. Get that intense going down the hall John Wick style feeling. But it maybe makes it just a little hard to deflect these guys on time. So let's just re-expand it just a touch. Yeah, just a touch. Okay. And then what the other thing I was feeling is up here, I think it's a bit much to have this guy shoot at you right away and then these guys appear right away. Maybe just one. Just one to slowly introduce them. Or one at a time, let's say. Like, we'll have two, but have this guy further up. And let's... And I have these guys walk back and forth. Oh, I need what I call path managers, which allows me to place patrol points. These are just the regular blocking guys. They don't... The blocking guy prefab on its own doesn't let me place patrol points. There we go. You know, something like that. And then we'll have a second guy. Let's bring this guy down. What is this? Oh, okay. That was the old guy. So yeah, let's put this like here. And then this guy here, let's make him a little more interesting. We'll start him, well, let's put him in the middle too, but his patrol points, let's reverse them. And I'm gonna move them a bit further out. Okay. Let's see what this feels like. Well, my first thought, that's fucking hard. These guys trip you out so much with how fast they move. I think one other thing is the speed of bullets. I don't know if I should increase that to match your dash speed, because it's kind of weird right now when you, like when you're close to them. See, the bullet can go through him because you kill him before the bullet reaches him. One other problem I'm envisioning here is, what if you skipped this guy? I'm gonna move this guy a little further up. It feels a bit too fast right now. I'm just thinking, like, what if you run past this guy? Like, if I just run over here, like, I wonder, actually, is that even out of range? Maybe 21.4, negative 11. Yeah, dude. If you run up along here, he won't even shoot you. That's not good. I'm gonna test that theory. Yeah, look at that. He's not even... And I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that I can't even see over there. That feels... Okay, maybe I do need to make this more narrow. Huh. Okay, I like the pacing of that. The pacing's feeling good, but... Also pretty funny how... if I deflect a bullet and send it up ahead... Whoops. Bro, I'm so... God damn it. If I deflect a bullet and send it all the way up ahead, it can kill a dude that's way ahead there. That's another thing I'll have to take a look at. Oh. Huh. Can I see the right wall? Can I at least see the regular right wall if I'm standing on the left side? No, I can't. Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, okay. I can just barely see it. That's good enough. So I think the width of this is like just wide enough to be good. Which means, though, that any additional width like this, that starts to get outside of the screen, and then that's where you have the issue of potentially missing enemies. I think maybe a simple solution to this is just... I can think of a couple solutions. One would be to put a few dash points for this guy coming out here. So if you start running away from him, he... or even in general, he just like pops out and then starts shooting at you. I could also add a thing to his behavior that's something like, if the player goes too far out of range, use the regular pathing to dash your way towards him. I don't know. And maybe I'll just get rid of this entirely. Because I'm not sure... I feel like what's more fun about this level is that it's just so incredibly linear and claustrophobic and intense, and it's just like a non-stop keep rushing forward. So maybe even just having guys like this on the side is no good. It creates a detour, and that's not really flowing with it. So maybe I'll just get rid of this. I think it'll be good enough to have guys hidden, the dynamic spawns who appear behind you, to mix things up. But otherwise, detours will probably take away from it. Let me focus in on that while I test it one more time. Yeah, I don't think it's really necessary to have a segment in the wall. I feel like that kind of works if I just leave a guy on the side in general. I don't know. Because, yeah, my thinking behind those guys on the side is based on the fact that you don't have to approach them to kill them. You can do it from a distance with the deflection, so that's why I thought it was neat to have something shooting at you from the side like that you don't have to actually go to. And you can keep moving. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it, actually. Yeah, okay. No, I think I want to keep that. I like it. It's just a question of how do I deal with players. Making sure players don't miss. Yeah, it might very well require say fuck it and just let's see. Actually, yeah, I haven't even tested this. Let's see how that works out if I just create. Right, like something like that. Just give him positions to chase after you. Okay. Now, one problem there is if you're out of range, he doesn't do anything because of that distance check I put in. So I think I do actually want him to keep doing his logic. I just don't want him to shoot at you if you're too far. So set the clear line, so it should be not a clear line of sight if he's too far. Okay, if it's a clear line of sight, if he's shooting, set direction. Okay, otherwise, also check if it's a clear line of sight, then check it's a clear line of sight only if it's less than or equal to the max shoot distance. So that way they'll, when they don't have a clear line of sight, the logic is that they keep dashing, they just don't shoot anymore. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so now how does it feel? I'm like, yeah, that's good. I'm feeling good with that. All right, that's a good start for this. I'm gonna continue tomorrow. I think that's enough of this session of work. Did not get a super big amount of stuff done today, but we did a good couple hours there, right? And first time showing you this whole process. If somehow somebody made it to the end of watching this entire thing, cool, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it that much. And honestly, if someone does enjoy watching the whole process of me making this enough, and it might be worth me streaming this or doing like a proper screen capture recording instead of my crappy webcam, let me know. I have been considering it, at least during parts of development like this, rather than, I can think of some stuff like music production might be a fun thing to stream as well, but really it's just the writing part that I wouldn't want to stream that. That's a much more personal process, and also probably really boring to watch. All right. See you tomorrow.